Hello there everyone, how you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going to r/entitledparents, where the parents are truly entitled. If you enjoyed today's stories, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and use one of your hypes if you have one available, please. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Entitled kid chokes me while his mom is watching, then tries to make me give him my PS4 because I punched him. This is my first story here, please be gentle. Also, this story is more about the kid than the parent, but the parent was supporting the behavior, so take that as you will. Our cast, EK, which is obvious, EM is obvious, me is super obvious, neighbors 1 and neighbors 2, and there's 2 neighborhood kids. Note that the neighbors are actually pretty cool. The entitled kid was just older than them and had some authority. And so it begins. One summer day last year, I just turned 14, I was playing some basketball with these 2 kids from my neighborhood in their driveway. Their family's pretty rich, so they have a fully paved driveway big enough to be a sizable court. It's just me and them for about half an hour until Satan's son himself came over from down the street. This kid's really a stereotypical little shit who made the select soccer team 3 years ago and still thinks he runs the place. So we let him join the game and everything's fine for a bit. I'm a little on the bigger side, but I'm really strong, so I play really well as a center, posting up and all that. And the EK is guarding me and he's getting worked. He's shorter and not as strong, so he's getting dominated. Here is the major incident. I've just grabbed a loose ball and I'm running back towards the basket. The other kids get back before me and stop my drive, so I start to back down him again. He must have been just really frustrated by him not getting a chance on defense, so he thinks up a plan. At this point, I was wearing a hoodie and the effer grabs my hood from behind and pulls as hard as he can. I, obviously not expecting my airflow to be cut off, especially while I'm breathing hard, start to panic. I can't shake him off my back and I don't know how long he's hanging on, but it felt like a whole 45 seconds. That may not seem like long, but I'm freaking out so it feels like forever. An eternity later, his grip loosens and I finally get him off. I'm fired up, so I punch him right in the nose. Definitely not as hard as I could have, but it certainly would have hurt a lot. This little shit, however, he drops like he's out cold. Meanwhile, I'm on my knees trying to get my breath back. He's bawling his eyes out and he's rolling and screaming and all that, being the melodramatic turd that he is. But his mom is running over and that was the moment where I knew I was fucked. Now sometime between when he started and when I socked him, his mother came out, but she's the typical, "I want to speak to the manager," white upper middle class mom who volunteers to be the head of the PTA every year and goes to Starbucks 20 times a day. And the EK is very much her son.
"Oh my God, are you okay? What did you do to him?"
He nearly choked me out, so I punched him.
"Why would you do that? You're so much bigger than him."
But he was choking me out.
"Come on, dude, you gotta be more mature about this."
What do you expect me to do? Apologize to him for making him choke me? This whole thing goes on for a while until the neighbors step in and try to protect me. Neighbor 1 says, OP really didn't do anything wrong. And neighbor 2 says, yeah, he didn't even hit him that hard.
"But OP shouldn't be hitting people in the first place, especially not my son."
But it was basically a trade-off.
"Why are you guys trying to protect him? You should probably go inside. You don't know what you're talking about."
They keep trying to help me out, but to no avail. This goes about for another 5 minutes until EK finally gets up and limps. Yes, you heard that right, limps back to his house. I go home because I'm sick of his shit and I'm tired. The next day I try to go back over, but EK is there already, and neither of his parents' cars are there, so I assume he's staying at the neighbor's kid's house until they come back. And I decide to go back inside because I don't want to interact with him. A couple hours later, EK shows up at our door with his mom standing at our fence.
Oh, hi, OP. I was coming over to say sorry for choking you yesterday. I won't ever do it again.
Okay, thanks. I'm sorry I punched you. At this point, my mom comes to see who I'm talking to and she asks what's going on.
EM pipes up and says, "We are here for your forgiveness gift."
My what?
Your forgiveness gift. It's a tradition in our family that the person who apologizes last has to give the other person something to make up for it.
My mom's like, "Excuse me, what's going on?" I explain what happened, and as I explain what that happened, she seems to get more and more disgusted with the situation. I finished explaining and turned my head to EK, who was trying to correct my story while I was explaining it to my mom, saying things, "He punched me twice in the face and then kicked me in the nuts while I was crying on the ground." My mom is basically a bomb-sniffing dog for lies, so I can see from her face that she knows that's bullshit. I turn back to EK and my mom says, "I'm sorry, but we don't do forgiveness gifts in this family."
We doing this one. EK, pick something out.
EK looked around and saw my PS4 and points at it.
I want that, Mommy.
Keep in mind that this kid is about a year younger than I am. Too old for mommy, too old for the whole situation in my opinion. EM walks up to our door and sees my PS4.
Great, we'll take that as her gift.
My mom, with steam billowing out of her ears, slams the door in their faces and quickly locks it. They start pounding on the door so hard that it sounds like they're trying to break it down. We leave the door, but they stay there pounding on the door for at least another 5 minutes before finally leaving. I still leave my neighbor's house anytime I see that kid walking down the block. And that's the story. I understand that it was super long, but it may not be as high stakes or entertaining as some other stories on here, but thank you for reading it so far. Someone in the comments says, "Easily one of my favorite stories on here," and I have to agree, it is a very good story. I think the mom's the bigger asshole than the entitled kid. Holy shit. I know this story wasn't about the mom, but holy goddamn shit. The enabling, it gets to a point. It really gets to a point. Entitled mother thinks that I, the delivery driver, should tip her. I'm on mobile, so if things go wonky, my attorney is accepting calls. After never dealing with an entitled parent in my life, I've now had two in the span of a few months. Normally a foul mouth, but I'll keep things clean for r/ and others. So I'm a delivery driver for insert major food company here, in major college town in Texas where everyone loves maroon. Normally it's not bad, pays pretty well, and customers are generally fine, though you'll always have idiots in every service job. This, however, surpassed anything I'd ever experienced before. I get an order alert on my phone, relatively simple but expensive order. We drivers love expensive orders from a restaurant nearby. In the portion for delivery instructions, the customer explains that I need to call her once I arrive, as ringing the doorbell as I normally do would disturb her autistic son. Okay, no problem at all. I received therapy for sensory issues when I was a kid as well, so I'm gonna be even more sympathetic to her than I would the average person. I receive the order and drive over to the house, it's a nice part of town, and give the customer a call. The younger woman answered and tells me to come up to the door. I do so and enter the entitled mom, who, strangely, was fairly attractive and did not have the typical haircut.
Yes,
Sorry, I missed a line there. Here's your order, ma'am. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Yes, my son's autistic and people like you don't understand how difficult it is to raise him. I shouldn't have to pay this much for food. Can you give me a discount?
Me, baffled, say, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but the app calculates your order total, not me. It's already been paid for." The entitled mother did not like that answer. Her face changed from a smug smirk into a snarl. I suppose I didn't realize how ridiculous the idea that people pay for their own food is.
Well, why don't you pay for it then? I'm not sure if you heard, but my son's autistic and it's your fault he's still hungry.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but that goes against our policy. If I paid for your order, I'd probably be fired.
Good! You're a useless driver anyway. You're disgusting. My son is starving to death. Since I've had to go through so much trouble with you, you should tip me.
My app has a setting where if you're in the process of taking an order or a customer, they'll assign you another one at the same time if there's activity. Thankfully, this saved me here. Can't do that, ma'am. Here's your order. I dropped the food gently on the ground between us and jogged back to my car. She was shouting something unintelligible, so much for not disturbing our autistic son, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. Unsurprisingly, she gave me a 1-star review. You tip online, so I got a small tip. I contacted support about it the next day. Yeah, I had a crazy lady yesterday started demanding I pay for her order, and even that I tip her. She was really rude. I'm not sure what the deal was. Oh, I knew what the deal was. That's why I'm here. Then NSL said, which order was it? It was order insert number here at insert address here. Yikes, you're the third person to complain about it. 1 or 2 we take with a grain of salt, but 3? You're probably out. I'll try to get her deactivated. If so, her review will be off your record. Thanks, I appreciate it. I feel like the entire world is better off now that she won't get deliveries from us anymore. But was the cost worth it? That remains to be seen. I can imagine she calls again and going,
What do you mean they'll no longer serve me? I deserve the world, 'cause I'm raising an autistic son.
Anyway, that's enough for that story. Let's get to the next story. Entitled Karen. My son sexually harassed you? Well, you're supposed to let him. How dare you defend yourself? This happened when I was 15. A boy in my neighborhood would often catcall me and try to grab me. He was around my age, and I had told him to leave me alone. I complained to his parents, but to no avail. When I told my parents about it, they just told me to ignore him. One day when I was walking home from school, he caught up with me. As usual, he made some filthy comments about my body, the things he would do to me, and so on. I walked faster in an attempt to lose him. I just wanted to get home, but he grabbed my arm and lifted up my skirt, exposing my underwear. I lost it. I began punching and kicking him with all my strength and all the rage that had been building inside me. I didn't stop until somebody pulled me off of him. It was his mother. She screamed at me for hurting her little boy and told me she would be speaking to my parents. I said fine and walked home. I knew it would get ugly that evening, but his blood on my knuckles made me feel a little better. That evening, when my parents got home, Karen was already waiting beside our front door. Apparently, she had been messaging my parents all day, telling them about the beating. She berated them again in person. The "boys will be boys" defense was used. And here's the fun part. My parents actually apologized to her and promised her they would discipline me. When she left, I told them my side of the story, but my dad just repeated what he had said earlier, that I should have ignored him, and icing on the cake, he told me that if I didn't want to draw the attention of boys, I should lengthen my skirts. Never mind the fact that I had pretty much been assaulted, my mom told me to grow up and be more ladylike instead of getting into fights with boys. My 2 brothers, who are younger than me, were much more sympathetic. My 13-year-old brother said he'd get his friends to gang up on him if he ever came near me. Thankfully, it never came to that. The coward never harassed me again. I guess getting beaten up by a girl can really kill a misogynist's confidence. God, what a fucking ass. Disgusting. Also, I wish you luck getting new parents. You obviously need them. On to the next story. That is the end of today's stories. If you enjoyed, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, hype the video, and maybe check out my other stories in the playlist below. It should pop up right about here. Now, I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!